Hi guys, it's Dom here from Soundsphere magazine and Gimme a whole year on an unusually sunny day here in East Yorkshire after the snow we've had recently. I just had a wonderful chat with Joe Hendry from Ring of Honor about his success and his goals for the future. It was lovely because we talked about touring and being in bands and stuff as well, so that was wonderful. I hope you guys enjoy it, and yeah, see you soon. Take it easy. Great to have you on and great to just chat to you, man. I think one of the coolest things about your work is obviously you're a wrestler, but you're also a content creator and entertainer. So my first question for you, man, is where did you find your voice? Can you remember the first moment as like a kid or in your youth where you were like, holy, I can sing, I can do this. What was the moment you found your voice?
So I did when I was 15, I'd been doing like Saturday acting classes for probably about, I mean, I'd always been in like kind of amateur like productions, like plays and stuff like that. But I did Saturday classes for maybe like 3-4 years, something like that. And then an audition came through to be a presenter on BBC. I thought that was pretty cool at the time. They were looking for young people to do it. I was 15 at the time, so I applied. And then they were like, "What's your musical instrument?" And I was like, I didn't have one. So it's like that, Stone Cold Steve Austin methodology. When they ask him, "Can you drive a forklift?" The answer is yes. You just say yes to whatever you're asked. So I was like, well, I didn't say this, but in my head, I was like, well, me and my cousin, he got a drum set, I got a guitar, and we'd been, just jamming in his room. And then I was like, oh, well, I'm in a band. And we weren't, but that was how the band was born. And then so we did this musical act thing, and it was so cringy looking back. Like they kind of they wanted us to so it was on a program called Smile TV. I don't know if you ever remember that. It was hosted by Fern Cotton and Reggie Yates.
Yeah.
And so it was hosted by them, and so we were doing like these performances, and we were covering we did a Nirvana one and a Blink-182 song. It was just terrible. It's fun looking back, but I remember, I was 15 at the time, and I wasn't singing. My friend was singing, and then he didn't want to be in the band anymore. So I was like, well, I guess I'll start singing. And I was so bad that people actually told me, family members, like, you shouldn't sing. You're decent at guitar, but you shouldn't sing. You're not very good. And I just have this thing where I'm like, well, no, I know, like in my heart, I just wanted to do it. And I learned you can actually get good at singing, or you can improve, because I was horrible when I started, but I just really worked hard on like breathing exercises and stuff like that, and just got practice. And just like any other instrument, you really can improve it. I think what people should know is that also you can find your voice. Like being distinctive is better than being very good, so Lou Reed, or probably doesn't have the most perfect voice in terms of doing scales and all that. Same like Johnny Cash, and but their voices are distinctive, and that's kind of the main thing. So really, just like you say, you just got to find your voice. So then, when I left school and university and stuff like that, I was doing the band, and we toured with like the Subways and the Fratellis and Sunshine Underground, and did a lot of cool stuff. But wrestling was always the main goal. And then I got to 24, about to turn 25, and I was like, it's now or never, man. You got to do it. And I just went into it with no backup plan, no nothing. And it's weird. This is what I tell my students. Everybody wants to get into wrestling the second they can. But actually, if you really think about wrestling and who gets over and why, a lot of the time it's the skills that they had outside of wrestling that they then combine with the wrestling to get over. And that's certainly been the case. It's not the same in every case. You just get people who are, just a wrestling prodigy, like there's loads of people who have come through the UK who are just phenomenal at wrestling, seemingly right off the bat, like Osprey or Ben Carter or something like that, so every path is different, but my path in particular had a lot to do with the skills that I'd got before I got into wrestling.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And what would you say your kind of, I guess this is a big question to ask someone like yourself, but who are your main musical influences? I've seen you do covers of Slipknot, Nirvana, obviously the 90s pop stuff you've done, for your interests. So give me your kind of top 5. I guess that's a I'm trying, that's a pretty good question to ask a musician, but top 5 influences.
Oh, that's really tough. So in terms of musical taste, or how I've brought it to wrestling, or just overall.
Well, let's yeah, go for an overall.
Do
And
you know,
then,
I like that because, and I'll tell you why. So I think to do the entrances I've done and all that stuff, I think you have to have some sort of decent songwriting background to do stuff and it not be cringy, if you know what I mean. And that's the thing. Like, I have had people like try to copy my gimmick in the past, and it doesn't tend to work, because it's like, the reason this gimmick works is because I was doing it for, 10, 15 years before I ever stepped foot in a ring, So it's like, I think, and I got that from listening to Weezer, just on repeat, repeat. It's my favorite band. Like, the Blue album to me is just like the perfect album. It's probably my favorite album. Rumors by Fleetwood Mac is up there. I tend to like albums rather than bands. It's weird. With Weezer, the Weezer are undoubtedly my favorite band. 9 Inch Nails, you don't hear that in my music, but he's one of my favorite artists. But you don't hear that in my music. But I don't know if you remember this, Dom, but like way back in the day, like way back, you're probably talking pre-2010, Trent Reznor laid out a blueprint for how to get over online as an artist. He put it out there and he says, look, if you want to be Britney Spears or whoever else, don't listen to this. For everyone else, this is the advice. And he said, this is how you lay out your website. This is what you do. This is what you make free. This is what you give away. This is what you put behind a paywall. He was so ahead of the curve. When he put out his album, I think it was The Slip, when he put it out, he looked at what he'd done and he was like, I've sold millions of records and I've got like 100 grand in the bank, which, to your eye is a lot of money, right? But to Trent Reznor, for the amount of records he's sold, the amount of costs that he's going to incur on his albums, that's not a lot of cash flow to be running with if you're a world famous band. And he's like, to hell with this. He released The Slip independently on his own and became a millionaire overnight. So I was always inspired by that. But I love 9 Inch Nails to listen to. Their sound just hasn't really found its way into my act. If I was to ever go down like a more serious or a darker character, that's where you would see that. But for me, Tenacious D were huge for me. So I don't know if we've all seen the movie, but I don't know, have you ever seen the HBO shorts that they made?
No.
That honestly, once you're done with this, you have to go look it up. There's like 6 episodes and they're like 10 minutes each. And me and my cousin just used to watch this on repeat, just on repeat. That Tenacious D Masterworks DVD, which actually someone burgled my house and stole my PS3. It was back in the day, and it had I was more upset. It had the Tenacious D Masterworks DVD inside. So, and that the insurance company didn't replace that. They replaced the PS3, but not the DVD. But anyway, I loved their comedic style. I always thought like the way that they portrayed themselves in that show, it was like, I've gone on this huge journey where as a wrestler, you have to be very goal driven, but I've started to come to the realization that it's better to try and be the best or the most entertaining than the most famous or you know what I mean? So it's like, and I feel like the Tenacious D HBO series versus the movie really is, which one of those are you? I would rather be the HBO series. So when I started in ICW, again, this isn't a musical influence, but I was really influenced by early Kurt Angle and the UK version of The Office and that style of comedy, because just no one was really doing that in British wrestling at the time. So I think the ones I mentioned before would probably be the main musical influence. I would say at one point Queens of the Stone Age were my favorite band, but I just found it hard after the whole photographer thing. I found it difficult. I'd need to look into it a bit more. I was just like, it sucked,
I've had the same problem because I grew up on, so Weezer and 9 Inch Nails are 2 of my favorite bands. 9 Inch Nails is probably my favorite band of all time. And the second favorite was Marilyn Manson until recently. And you kind of, it's that, can you separate the art from the artist debate? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's impossible. It's sometimes impossible,
Yeah, so it's a hard one, man. I think that it's interesting because I would call you, an artist, obviously because you kind of you've encompassed wrestling into your world, but also music. And I guess, as an artist, is there any aspect of that touring lifestyle? Because I guess it's the same when you're on the road in wrestling and you've traveled the world, and we'll talk a bit more about that. Do you miss the gigs and the touring?
Do you know what, man? This is my favorite interview that I've had in a long time, because you're asking all the stuff from a music perspective, and it's so relevant to me. I've never had a chance to talk about this stuff, but it's such a good question, because I'll tell you what the difference is. When you're in wrestling, it's very much an individual journey. Whereas when you're in a band, it doesn't, you know, how people talk about like getting heat in the locker room, or like, you know, this person doesn't like you. It's like high school style drama. When you're by yourself, that's one thing. But when you're in your band, you don't care if every other band in the place hates you, because you've got your squad and that's it. You've got your squad. I don't care. I want everyone else to hate me. Screw them. I never have to speak to them. Never have to deal with them. To hell with them, you know? And obviously, like, I'm maybe putting that across the wrong way, because actually Ring of Honor is like a family. It's an awesome environment. And that's like the first time I've really felt like a real kind of family atmosphere in a promotion. So I wouldn't really apply it to that situation with what I'm talking about. But in music, if you're in like a faction, that would probably be great for, you know, just like mental health and not having to deal with all the BS. You've got you know, you've got people to rely on, you've got people to bounce ideas off, people have got your interests at heart. It's, you know, like being in a band is your squad. So no matter what drama you have to deal with, you go through it together. Whereas wrestling is very much an individual journey. And like I say, with Ring of Honor, I've felt, you know, I really felt like I fit in, and it's been awesome. But before that, you know, I think in other companies, it was a real struggle to get around all the kind of, you know, the drama and things that you have to encounter. And that just naturally comes with any business, but, you know, it's multiplied when you've got, you know, over the top personalities with over the top egos. And I throw myself in there, you know what I mean? We're all, whether you're a musician or a wrestler, we've all got some unhealthy need for attention that you know what I mean? So we're all in that same boat, but it's just when you put a lot of personalities together, there's going to be drama, there's going to be stuff like that. But if you're in a band or a faction, so I guess it's kind of the same thing. If you've got a faction in wrestling, it's kind of like having a band in wrestling. That's a great way to get through it, says the guy not in a faction, you know.
It's all right, man. It's just interesting because, again, I knew you were a music fan and obviously, you know, a musician because of your work and your promos, but listening to you talk about touring, you know, and working with, like, you know, touring with the Subways and stuff, like that's an amazing experience to have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's probably put you in a, and I'm assuming, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
It prepared you to be in a locker room in a tight, you know, in a tight kind of environment, you know, where you're like, you're traveling in a van for days, weeks, months, but then you know, has it prepared you in any way for that locker room environment and that kind of?
I would say there is, I mean, it's difficult because I came up through ICW, which, you know, locker, that was that was like, you're in the deep end right now. Like I debuted one night, I was in ICW the next night. You know what I mean? This is how fast my career went. Like, so it happened so fast. So it was really just swimming with sharks immediately. And, you know, same with ICW, with What Culture, it was such a pressure cooker situation for someone so new. It's like you're either going to sink or swim. And so there were a lot of tough times, but those tough times made me the wrestler that I am. And it forced me to learn how to get over, to learn how to become better, you know. So I actually, looking back, I don't really think I'd change anything because it's kind of brought me to this point. But in terms of, like, you know, the locker room environment, I think touring, I love traveling. I mean, so with if you include like amateur wrestling, so like I say, I started that relatively late in life, but if you include that, I mean, amateur wrestling took me to South Africa, and I lived in Australia for a month when I was there. So I got to experience those places. And pro wrestling has taken me to every nook and cranny in the UK. And like, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but trust me, there's so many awesome places in the UK that you just wouldn't see if you haven't toured as part of like a wrestling promotion or a band. And ICW and What Culture were cool for that early on, because they would go everywhere to these random locations. I loved it. So I went to there. I've been to, you know, Ireland, Northern Ireland. I've been to Romania, Germany, Canada, America, and like you say, Australia, South Africa. I'll be leaving Mexico. Yeah, I've spent time in Mexico. I've basically seen the world, and I'm so glad that, because we don't know what's going to happen with COVID and travel and stuff like that. I'm so glad that I had the chance to see the world before that went down. So it's like, you know, who knows what the future holds. Hopefully I can get back out there soon, but I did my absolute best to see the world. And I think that's the best thing about being in a band or being a wrestler, is the travel. And the thing is, you're either going to love it or hate it. Like, so if to you, would you rather be in a comfy bed at home, or would you rather be on, you know, a mega bus or a tour bus going to these tiny venues that, you know, not tiny. I'm talking about if you're in a band, like when I was in a band, that's what it was, you know. There were days where we would sleep in the car, you know. It was like, but we didn't care. We were on the road and we loved what we were doing. And this is what I advise to people, whether it's wrestling, whether it's music, you have to love this so much that you wouldn't care if anyone was watching. You wouldn't care how much you were getting paid. You just want it to be there. And you can't lose if you do that, because the thing is, I used to think of my music career as a failure, but then I look back on it and it's like, no, it was the learning and the foundation for everything that's going on now. And also it's like, whether you're successful or not, I used to think, oh, well, I failed at music, but I'm succeeding at wrestling. Whereas now I don't look at it like that. I look at it in terms of, well, first of all, there isn't that same sort of age restriction thing that went on in the 90s and the 2000s. It just doesn't matter anymore. So the journey isn't over until you say it's over, for one. But now I look at it and go, I have had the chance to, so I did, you know, like I say, a bit of acting stuff early on in my life. I did music for, you know, 10, 15 years, however long it was. I got to see loads. You know, we did a tour of Iceland. You know, we played to like over 10,000 people over there at a festival. It was nuts, you know, like we've done that sort of stuff. I've done everything that I've done with wrestling. I look back and I did the Commonwealth Games. I won 2 British amateur wrestling titles in 2 different disciplines. And I'm going, you know, I've lived every dream that I wanted to live, regardless of what level I achieved. And I'm kind of like, now that I'm getting more mature as an adult, I'm like, actually, that's more important than the success level. It's did I go for it? If you go for it, you never have any regrets. You know, you just, that's the thing. You don't want to go to the deathbed and go, I wish I'd done that, you know. You have to do everything you want to do. It doesn't matter to what level you do it, just do it. And it's going to give you a level of satisfaction unlike anything else.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And that was one of my up and coming questions was, I work with a lot of young people and they look at people like yourself and they go, oh, you know, Joe Hendry's he's in Ring of Honor, he's been in Impact, he's done World of Sport, he's been all over the world. I'm never going to achieve that level of success. You did answer that question mostly, but how can you answer, how do you define success? What does it mean to you as a person? What does success mean to you?
So I've matured so much in the last year. And something I've really got into is Stoic philosophy, which is basically about control what you can control. Yeah. You can't control how successful you are directly. You can indirectly. So let me explain this. Let's just be honest. If you have the best physique, you are going to get a deal. If you are the best wrestler, you are going to get a deal. If you are the most entertaining, you are going to get a deal. And those are all things that you can control. Whereas having the goal of, I'm going to get a deal, you can't actually control when or where that happens. But if you control all the things you can control, if you just accept you can't control that, you can try and you can go for it, but you cannot at the end of the day control it. You take care of all the things that you can control. And what you find is by controlling the things you can, you actually gain direct control over the thing that you could not control directly previously. Right. So actually the illusion, you can control the things you can't control, but in order to do it, you have to control the things you can control. Right, so, okay. Yeah. So it's like, basically, the other thing is as well, it's like, there's this sort of overnight success thing. And what you need to understand is that when you are working away, don't measure your success in how many people are viewing your content, how many people are at your shows, what stuff you're getting. What you are doing is you are building an infrastructure for when that time comes. Like right now is not my time. I'm sitting in my house, you know, I'm really enjoying being like an analyst for Ring of Honor. I'm making lots of content in that regard, but I know that I genuinely believe I've got the skills to be the top guy in this business. I genuinely believe that. And you have to believe that. And to hell with anyone that doesn't. And we all go through this process of talking ourselves out of that. But if you know in your gut that you can go toe to toe with anyone, then you have to do whatever you can do to stop those other voices detracting you from that, especially in this kind of social media era. But right now, I know that my hands are somewhat tied with, I can't get over there, for example. So let's look at the things that I can control. That's really what I'm focusing on. And what you need to do when you're working away, you might not be getting the views you want, you might not be getting this, but what you're doing is you're putting an infrastructure in place for when the opportunity comes. Because I've had several times in my career, like you mentioned World of Sport, for example. Looking back, I was kind of like, you know, let's say I was upper mid card, verging on the main event. It was only like a 10, episode series or whatever, right? But you might even say main event, right? But I wasn't getting near the title there. And I felt like I had the skills to be the one to carry World of Sport. I felt that, right? But in retrospect, I look back at it and I go, it's clear as day. I look at it and I go, where was my physique at that time? Was it bad? No. But was it main event level? No. So how can I expect to carry a company that is a very mainstream television-based product when I'm not in the best shape? It's just as simple as that. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, if I'd have been ready when I got the call, if I'd have been in the shape that I needed to be in, maybe I would have ascended to a higher height. And that's when there's nothing worse being in the ring going, oh, I wish I was in a little bit better shape for this, or I wish I had more cardio for this. That's something I've learned. The opportunities are going to come, and you're not going to have any warning about when they will. I mean, Dom, you might be able to give some insight on this with, you know, being like a musician and stuff like that. It's like, you'll get a lot of calls out the blue. Can you do this on this day? Can you be there at this time? And you don't get loads of notice. You just have to be ready, and you're either ready or you're not. And there's that phrase where it's when preparation meets opportunity. You know, what happens is there are so many opportunities in our lives that just fly past us that we never see. Yeah. Like, see, when I wrestled Kurt Angle, it was like a 0.1% chance of happening. And I was like, what can I do to forward this? Whereas it would have been so easy to go, oh, it'll never happen, you know?
Absolutely, man. I completely empathize with that. So I have cerebral palsy, and I always wanted to be a drummer in a band, right? So I wanted to do loads of stuff. So I was like, yeah, I started a business, did all that stuff. It was great. But then I always like, I want to be in a band. I want to learn to play an instrument. And I was like, right, okay. Somebody was like, well, we need a drummer for a band. And I was like, right, you know what? I'm going to learn drums to be in this band. And then 4 years later, I'd toured like Asia and Europe and stuff. It's like a hardcore punk band because I'm not very good with double kick pedal. So like, I was just like, where I could make as much noise as I could with the cymbals and the snare and all over, you know, but I'd toured. So I do empathize with you on that. And I would sort of gently challenge you as well and sort of say, if you hadn't had that time to reflect and you didn't have that awareness, say you were about World of Sport now, where you're like, my physique wasn't great, then you wouldn't know how to improve and you wouldn't know how to develop. It's all about
yeah, absolutely. It's all part of the journey. That's the thing. It's every time you go, and that's not like a criticism on me. It's more just it's that stoic philosophy. It's like, don't, you know, think that you're owed something. It's like, so if you want that top spot, then be undeniable on every level, you know? Absolutely. It's like, it's very simple. Like, so again, it's like, if you're, what people do, and I've done it in the past as well, you sometimes go, why am I not here? Why can I not get there? Why can I, you know, progress in this way? And it's like, really take a step back and go, what you can do is put it on yourself to improve, and the opportunities will come. Good things are going to happen. People want that certainty. They want the certainty that if I do this, this is going to happen. That is never going to come. No one is ever going to say, you know, if you do this, you will get this in wrestling or music. But we've got enough data to see that it will happen. You know, nothing is sure in life. But if you get the best physique, have the best matches, have the best promos, it's going to be a matter of time. The cream always rises to the top. Absolutely. And it's like, it's taken, you know, I think a bit of maturity to now see that. And it's like, actually, to be honest with you, like, I'm really satisfied with everything that I've done in my career, but to get to that next level, I'm going to need to push myself to a place where I haven't gone before, you know?
Absolutely. And that brings me to my next question. You mentioned goals. You know, where is the place you've not gone before? You know, what goals do you have? You've made it to, you know, Ring of Honor, you know, you Ring of Honor now. You know, where do you see yourself? Because you've done everything on the face that a UK wrestler, you know, you've made it to America, you've transitioned into that sports entertainment style. And you've also worked in the UK on the indies, and you've done all that. So what is next for you? What are your goals? So
for me, the goal that I've got is just to be, this sounds so generic, but I'm going to give it a little explanation. By taking control of everything we talked about, I want to reach my potential. I want to be the best version of me. So I'm going to stop caring about, oh, am I going to be in line to win this title or that sort of thing. It's about basically, how can I have the best match or the best promo? And that's the thing, like, I believe in terms of my gimmick. You know, my promos, I've got nothing to prove to anybody. Like, I feel like I genuinely feel there's no one in this business, no one. And I'm not caring who thinks otherwise. There's no one in this business that I couldn't step out in front of those cameras and go toe to toe with on promos. It's just not happening. I've got that confidence, and if people don't want to like me for that, go for it. Again, with physique, like I'm trying something different now. I'm bulking up a lot. So, but when I have everything right with my diet and when I really put in the work, again, I know I can get my physique to that top level. I know I can deliver that. And I've shown that I showed that in 2019, and I've been showing that consistently with my promos and my, my gimmick work and stuff like that. I've also had the courage as a 27-year-old professional wrestler to go, I'm going to now become an amateur wrestler, put myself out there. And then I've won 2 British titles. So I feel like no one, I don't need to prove anything to anybody in terms of my legitimacy and my charisma. But what I've always been is a solid worker, right? I've always been a solid worker, but I don't have, I now need to start having those matches that are stealing the show. And that's the next big challenge for me, because to me, once I do that, that is going to elevate me to the next level. I feel like if I stayed at the level I'm at and didn't improve, I could have a successful career. But if I want to be the best, I need to go, right, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's reinvent what I'm doing. So I've put on 60 pounds since people last saw me. So that now means I can press people. I was suplexing 2 people at the same time. Now maybe I can suplex 3 at the same time. So it's now going, how can I create a unique move set and insert this new, bigger, heavier Joe Hendry into, perhaps the pure division or the tag division or whatever, and start to really stand out and steal the show. And that is the big challenge for me. And it's one that I'm very excited about taking on. I've got my own, I can't use it right now because it's locked down, but I've got my own premises. I've got my own ring. And, as soon as it's legal, I'm going to be working on doing that. And when I come back to Ring of Honor, I want people to go, oh, goddamn, right. Okay. The statement has been made,
Yeah. Congratulations, man. I think that's it's amazing that you've had so much success and you've obviously worked really hard for it. And I guess, is it, being direct, is it a Ring of Honor World Championship? What is the pinnacle for you?
The pinnacle for me is just to be the absolute best professional wrestler in the business across, all things considered, for someone to go, he's the best. And again, for me to say I need to win a Ring of Honor world title by this date or that date, that's putting a variable out there that I can't control. And I've learned when you do that.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. I'm learning from this chat, man. I was like, oh man, that contradicts the whole, So yeah, thank you for that. Thanks for checking.
No, it's all right. But no, it's all, we were just chatting, But like that, don't get me wrong, that is a goal of mine. I want to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm on my path, and hopefully me improving and getting better and working harder, that I know that those opportunities will become available. But I'm not going to make any claims about when it's going to happen. All I'm going to say is I'm going to get better, and good things are going to happen.
Absolutely, man. And I do want to touch on your work with students and your content creation as well. I guess that's part of your brand. But one of the coolest things I've seen, there was a tweet you put out a few weeks ago fairly recently, about recycling content and the value of that. Now, there's a lot of young people I work with that they want to be, making millions of pounds on YouTube by, 12 to 15 years old plus, right?
Yeah.
So, and they go, why aren't I getting more than 50 views on this video? Why aren't I getting 200? Why am I getting whatever? And then they also go back and look at their old videos and think, that was really good, but I can't use it. So talk to me a bit more about your philosophy of on content creation, because I think that's fascinating.
I think it comes back to, exactly what I was saying before about being in a band and being a wrestler. You have to love it so much that you would do it if no one was watching. And that helped me to really look at the content I was creating, because I was creating little bits of content that I was like, I'm not actually having fun with this particular thing or that particular thing. I'm doing it to try and get the views. Whereas see the custom entrances, I really enjoy them. And I think that comes across. So I think that's the first thing, is to really audit yourself and go, what am I enjoying? What am I passionate about? Because you can be kind of passionate about something if you're getting the results, but let's ask yourself, if the results go away, if there's less people watching, if there's less, when we're not in COVID, if there's less of an audience, if you take away these things, would you still do it? So I'll give you an example. I work on original music that has nothing to do with wrestling in my own time. And, I do that without anyone having to watch, because no one sees it, because I just make it, but I enjoy it and it brings a lot to my life. So that's what I do. So I think with wrestling, I have the similar philosophy, but that one just happens to be the thing that's, bringing home the bacon for me, and I'm good at it, because it's my number one passion. So I think you've got a lot of people making videos that aren't that passionate about making videos. What they want is the end result. They see the YouTubers, they see the success, and they go, oh, I want the success. But I think, to be honest with you, I know I've got friends at university who are like, from university, who are like fund managers and stuff. So they deal with a lot of wealthy people. And I've had them tell me that basically the common thread is passion. Like, so for all the high net worth clients that they have, it all comes down to an obsession about their craft, whatever that craft may be. If it's creating a business for washing windows, that's what they're passionate about, is creating, revenue that way. Or is it making music, or is it doing this? The high net worth clients that people deal with, it all comes down to passion, and it always will at the end of the day, because the opportunities will come and go. I've been in a situation now where Ring of Honor are been unbelievable at looking after the roster throughout the pandemic. They've been paying me as normal. Then there's no expectations. And all I'm doing is they're allowing me to make all this content. They're still promoting me. They're still putting me out, and they're still putting me out there. And I thought to myself, I'm in an awesome situation. I'm so happy and lucky to be part of the Ring of Honor family. But the truth is, if I was, I was still happy doing what I was doing when I was broke and I was in the training school. It's both of them are living your dream. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think, so when you choose whatever endeavor it is that you're going to do, you have to pick something that you would do if no one was watching, so that when, so that you're going to be happy. And that's if you, so, and it just comes down to that. So what I would say to people making content is, if you really want to be a content creator, then absolutely do it and focus in on a niche that you enjoy. But actually, if it's more the end result that you're in love with, you need to go back to the drawing board and go, well, actually, what am I passionate about? And here's the other thing. This is the kind of tough conversation, is I think it's also what you're passionate about, but I actually think something that you have a natural inclination towards helps as well. So for me, I've just always been good at fighting. I don't know why, just have. So I got my judo black belt super quick. I went into amateur wrestling at 27, became British #1 in like 2-3 years. Like, it's just, fighting just came naturally to me, and I just had this sort of natural strength. And so when I started wrestling, like, I already had that kind of judo background. I'd kind of done that a little bit as a kid. I'd done like the acting classes, I'd done the music and the performance. And so wrestling was not only my #1 passion, but it was also tied into all the skills that I'd picked up along the way. So I think what you need to do is pursue your passions to their fullest. But the one that you are going to probably see as your career is the one that you're super passionate about, but it matches up with what you're naturally good at.
Yeah, absolutely. Well defined, man. And I've got 2 or 3 more questions now before we finish, because again, I'm fascinated in terms of because I noticed earlier we were talking a little bit about well-being and kind of some of the stuff you're doing, some of your passions, and we do a lot of work in that now. We've kind of moved into well-being and mindfulness and things, and I wanted to get a couple of tips from you about things that you do to center yourself, things that you do when you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, if you've got loads of work to do or you've got loads of stuff going on. What tips do you have for any young people that might be struggling with mental health right now, or creativity? What kind of well-being tips do you have, if any?
I mean, I have to say, I would say anxiety is something that I've struggled with a lot for my entire life, and there were some difficulties that I had to overcome early on in life that obviously have some sort of implication later on. And again, I don't think I really properly dealt with that until I was older. It's not anything to do with family or anything like that, just some difficulties I had to overcome. But I think for whatever reason, I've just always been somewhat of a worrier or an anxious person. And I think what I will say is, it's like, I've been British champion in both freestyle and Greco, but so I feel I've been in spots where I've been seen as very tough and very strong, and physically, like, I'm not afraid of anybody. I would fight Brock Lesnar if the price was right, but I'd get my ass whipped, but be good payday, so, but my point is, I'm not afraid of anything like that. But when it comes to mental health, it's a completely different, a different thing. And there's been times where I really felt like happiness eluded me for a long time. And I think that's because I was putting so much value into things that weren't valuable, and I think that's part of it. And that's happiness comes from controlling what you can control. So I will say that this is the issue, that this is the thing. I have had situations in my life where I have, felt like I'd suffered from depression. I've spoken to people about it. And I do think that talking to someone really, really helps, especially if it's someone who is, does not know you, is not, someone who is trained to have those sorts of discussions. But I will say those are great to get the process started. But I think to really, truly achieve some sort of happiness in life, it comes from a sense of satisfaction and gratitude. Now, that is difficult because that is almost directly conflicting with the hunger that you need to get to that next level. So the real challenge is, how do you have a sense of gratitude for what you're doing, but still be hungry and want more in a healthy way? I think that's the challenge for performers. And I think that Stoic philosophy is the best way to do that, because for me, I've realized that a lot of my anxiety comes from situations that I don't have the ability to have any control over, and that will cause me worry. But and it can be stupid things. It can be like, if I'm leaving the house, I'm like, oh, did I close, that we put the dog in the kitchen. It's like, I'm thinking, oh, is he going to get out? Is he going to get into the bin? Is he going to eat something that he shouldn't be eating? Or it's just stupid stuff like that. And that'll drive me crazy. And I've learned with anxiety that what it will do is, whatever is your big concern at the time, that's what you'll be anxious about. And if that's no longer there, your brain will find the next thing, So I think to overcome that, you do have to find a sense of gratitude for the situation that you're in. And to, again, it's so easy to say, oh, but look at the positives and stuff like that. But in truth, I've tried a lot of different things. And the thing that really helped me more than anything else was reading about Stoic philosophy, because I just felt like that really reframes the world in a different way for people who struggle with mental health. And it gives you some of the control back. So it's basically saying, well, there's all these things you can't control in your personal and your professional life. What happens if we just submit to that? Like, what happens if we just accept that we can't control those things, and we just move them off the plate? They're no longer in our consideration. And it takes a long time to do that, and it takes practice and it takes work. And this is the thing that me and my girlfriend have had this conversation many times, that there's a phrase that we like to, or a philosophy that we like to use, which is, everybody goes to the gym and works on their physical health so much, but really, how much time do we spend on our mental health? And the thing the thing that you need to remember is, when you are a performer, when you're in one of these industries, it's very easy to get into a spot where you're not, where you're very critical of yourself, and that then spills into your overall perception of yourself. And it is that, to quote RuPaul, it's like, how are you going to love someone else if you can't love yourself, And I think it's this weird thing. It's like, to be happy and to be the best version of yourself for other people, you have to have love for yourself, which a lot of people can find difficult, because it's almost like an arrogant thing to love yourself. And it's something that we go, ooh, it's like almost like it conflicts with that British politeness that everybody has. But I think that's the thing I think that's the way to do it. I have found, actually, that's one thing I do like about America, is there's a bit more of a positive culture, whereas here in the UK, we're a bit down on ourselves, and I think you have to almost get out of that.
Definitely, man. Definitely. And I mean, that's, beautiful, beautiful message there. And I guess to finish off, because, you've got so much going on, what can we expect from you the rest of this year? Obviously COVID dependent. Are you going to be back over in America? Will you be planning? I'm assuming, but are you thinking about moving to America full time, or what goals do you have? Well, not goals, but what have you got to plug? Is there anything to plug or promote that you've got going on at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it comes down to that Stoic philosophy thing. I can't control when I'll be able to get back over, because the one thing we have to do is give credit where credit's due. and Ring of Honor have been phenomenal with safety as well as looking after the performers, not just financially, but in terms of safety. The ROH bubble is, they've worked directly with the athletic commissions and it's like Ring of Honor have just done the best job of having the highest possible safety protocols. So I'm going to, go with whatever recommendation and advice that they have. When they need me, I'm ready to go. So that's what all I need to do. I need to stay ready in regards to that. What I am doing is I always like to try and provide as much value as I can. So now that I'm not there, what I'm doing is a show called Technique Tuesdays, which is on the Ring of Honor YouTube. And what I do is I break down professional wrestling in a scientific way. So if a particular move has its foundations in judo or jiu-jitsu or amateur wrestling or, a wide variety of disciplines, I'll be talking about that, as well as sometimes the physics of the move. So how does this move work? How is it effective on your opponent? What is the opponent's strategy? So we really break down professional wrestling in a way that I don't know that we've seen that much in wrestling. So it's really exciting. I really enjoy it. It's on the ROH YouTube channel. It's called Technique Tuesdays, and it goes up, as described, every Tuesday. So that, I definitely check that out. We've got, I always say to people as well, people really, if they are fans of wrestling, should think about supporting Ring of Honor just with the way that they've treated the wrestlers and, the people backstage and how great they've been. So if you do want to support an awesome company, we've got the new shop, which is shophonor.com, and that's the American spelling. So it's just that there's no U in honor. So it's shophonor.com. So definitely go have a look at that. They've kind of redone it all. It looks cool. And Honor Club as well is awesome. So rohwrestling.com. There you go.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you were actually my gateway because I'd kind of watched the main, the major big promotions.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ring of Honor, I consider them in that bracket now for sure. Yeah. But I kind of checked Ring of Honor out a little over a year ago, and there's you there, and I'm really into there's Danhausen there now, Dalton Castle who you work with, Vincent. There's so many wonderful talents there. So it's it must be a great thing to be a part of, and it's a wonderful experience just to chat to you, mate. I could talk to you for hours and hours.
You too, mate. You too. This has been a fun interview. It's fun to talk about music as well.
Absolutely, man. Well, hopefully we'll get many more chances to do it.
Let's do it, man.
Joe, mate, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it, man. And I'll catch you on the other side.
Cheers, mate. Sounds good.